Three water firms face a record total £168 million fine after sewage investigation. We're going to read into this piece from The Guardian, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from The Guardian with the headline that three water firms face a record total £168 million fine after the sewage investigation. Ofwat is to penalise Thames, Northumbrian and Yorkshire for a catalogue of failures over a legal discharge. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share across social media so others are not notified of this video. So we've talked we've talked many times here on this channel about the issues surrounding the water companies ever since they've been privatized under Margaret Thatcher. The lack of infrastructure that has been built by these water companies and their holdings to shareholders and dividends, and the record amount of money that they have been earning at the expense of us, the taxpayer, on something that is quite literally should never be privatized in the first place. I believe that we and one other country are the only ones in the world that actually has privatized our water, and it's one of the most insane things to privatize our water company. And this, while I understand that the Labour government doesn't want to, I believe the Labour government does want to nationalise the water companies. I believe it does, but there may be a case of that there is perhaps a public perception that people don't really care whether it's nationalised or privatised, that they just want their water bills down and they just want to make sure that they're getting their water. Those are the kind of, because some people out there in the general public just don't care. As long as I can afford to pay the bill, as long as I can drink my water, I don't care about anything else. That's kind of the mindset. Obviously, some people are a bit more in nuance into it. Like, for example, obviously those who are seeing the damage that is being done to the environment, into rivers and seas, especially for people who go cruising along the rivers, whether it's on canals, swimming, whatever. You'll note there, and those who have been sick from being in those waters as well. So obviously all that is playing a part into a lot of anger and frustration for those who are much more neck deep into what's happening in terms of the environment in their areas, their local and surrounding areas, so they can see that damage of being told. So should Labour nationalise it, and do they want to nationalise it? I do believe they do. The biggest overhaul has to be the debts that these water companies are. So for those who aren't aware as well, Thames Water is in a really big financial trouble. They have massive amounts of debts. I keep getting something jumping on me. Keep having massive amounts of debts on them, and they can't clear them. They can't clear this. And fining Thames Water, and straight away my mind is like thinking, what exactly is this going to do? And this is the thing. Like, okay, you find the water companies. Okay, great. Is this going to change anything? Is this going to ensure your waters are going to be cleaner? Is this going to make a difference? Because I as of right now, I have a very hard time believing, yes, well done Labour, well done Ofwat for fining these companies, because I feel like they've been fined so many times before by the Conservative governments over this whole sewage scandal thing, and it's like nothing to them. So is this going to be the changing point? Is this going to be the point where we're going to stop getting illegal discharges? We're going to get much less sewage pumped into our rivers and our seas. Now, there has to be some discharge, as much as I hate to admit it, because we are a wet country. We get a lot of rain. So sometimes the flows get a bit more backed up than they should be, and unfortunately we have to discharge it. I really think we need a massive overhaul of our infrastructure, pretty much throughout the entire of England and Wales. I can't speak too much about Wales. I'm pretty Scotland's is nationalised, so they're fine. But for us, like, it needs to be a massive overhaul. And then everyone will say the million dollar question of where is all the money going to come from? Well, the money's got to come from somewhere. Personally, I think the rich should pay this, like the rich should pay for a lot of things, if I'm honest. But definitely something needs to be done, because I like, it sounds really big, £168 million fine, but it doesn't come across to me as, yeah, that'll teach them. I don't feel that at all, guys. But maybe some of you do down in the comments. So you let me know if you think it's going to be a real difference, a game changer sort of thing. So Thames, Yorkshire and Northumbrian Water will be fined a record £168 million between them for a catalogue of failures over illegal sewage discharge into rivers and the seas after the industry regulator's biggest ever investigation. So the water regulator for England and Wales, Ofwat, has proposed penalties for £104 million for Thames, £47 million for Yorkshire and £17 million for Northumberland for failing to manage their wastewater treatment works and networks, including their operation of storm overflows. It said it's the first of more crackdowns to come. Like, okay, but again, is it going to really make a difference? Ofwat found all three companies have routinely released sewage into rivers and seas, failing to ensure discharge of sewage from storm overflows, occurring only in exceptional circumstances, which have resulted in harm to the environment and their customers. The investigation was prompted by a public outcry over water companies breaking legal rules on when they could release raw sewage, and came after evidence was presented to MPs that suggested illegal dumping was 10 times higher than the regulators realised. In 2023, sewage spills in England increased by 54% from the previous year, according to the Environmental Agency, with some people are refusing to pay their water bills in response to the sewage crisis. Steve Reid, the Environment Secretary, welcomed Ofwat's action. The unacceptable destruction of our waterways should never have been allowed, and it is right that those responsible for illegally polluting our waters, lakes and seas face the consequences, he said. He added that the government would fundamentally reform the water sector, announcing the first steps to clean up the industry in its special measures bills to cut sewage pollution, protect customers and attract investment to the upgrade for its crumbling infrastructure, as well as promising further legislation. High levels of illegal sewage discharge correlated with treatment works which have not been properly upgraded or maintained by the water companies. Nearly 70% of Thames treatment plants had operational problems, Ofwat had said, and 16% of the storm overflows were operating in breach of their permits and therefore illegally. At Yorkshire, 16% of sewage works had operational problems, and 45% of its storm overflows were in breach of their permits. Ofwat also found a strong correlation between high-level spills and operational issues at wastewater treatment sites, a failure to upgrade assets, and said companies have been slow to escape the scope of their obligations relating to limiting pollution from storm overflows and failed to ensure that they had in place the necessary information, processes and oversight. The Ofwat Chief Executive David Black said our investigation has showed how the three companies routinely release sewage into our rivers and seas, rather than ensuring that this only happens in exceptional circumstances as the law intends. The level of penalties we intend to impose signal both the severity of the failing and our determination to take action to ensure water companies do more to deliver cleaner rivers and seas. These companies need to move at pace to put things right and meet their obligations to protect customers and their environment. I think it sounds tough and it's a big fine, but as of right now, I'm just not buying into this right now from them. Last month, Ofwat proposed that all water companies could raise bills by an average of £94 over 5 years to an average of £535 a year, described as a bitter pill by the Chancellor Rachel Reeves that reflected 14 years of failure under the Conservatives. So under the proposal, companies are required to reduce spill from sewage overflows by 44% by 2030 compared with 2021 levels. Campaigners have criticised the plans, arguing they do not go far enough to tackle sewage spills and make customers pay twice. Yeah. Thames' latest financial report shows the number of incidents of pollution from treatment works and pipelines increased to 350 last year from 331 in 2022. The rise was attributed to delays in investment to create more capacity as at many of the company's 400 ageing sewage treatment works. So Doug Parr of the policy at Greenpeace UK said, it's good to see the rogue industries finally paying the price for years of pollution, but it is our rivers, seas and everyone who enjoys them that pays the real penalty. With added interest for every year this abuse is allowed to continue. I think there's a bit of a mess up there. Our water courses and the ecosystem that relies on them are in a desperate need of protection, and there is a huge public support from this. It is now vital that Ofwat brings in a full ban on shareholders' dividends and bonuses for these serial polluters. The government should give its full backing and additional resources to regulators like Ofwat and the Environment Agency, and recognised that the privatisation of the most vital of industries have failed. Thames said, "We take this matter very seriously and we have cooperated at every stage of Ofwat's investigation. We regard all untreated discharge as unacceptable, even when they are permitted, and are taking action to improve the health of our rivers as a key area of focus and investment." A Yorkshire spokesperson said, "We take our responsibility to protect the environment very seriously. Last year we apologised for not acting quickly enough and announced our £180 million programme to reduce discharge from our storm overflows before April 2025. I just don't buy anything that these companies say, because at the end of the day it's all about the bottom. It's all about making money for them at the end of the day. "We are disappointed with Ofwat's response to their investigation into our wastewater treatment networks. Yorkshire said it has more robust processes in place and have finished the work at 10 storm overflows on 44 sites and 66 to start soon. Northumbrian said it was disappointed by Ofwat's decision, added it did not recognise some of the standards of complaints that Ofwat is enforcing. These are department from its previous practice and appear inconsistent with those of the Environment Agency and the government, and with Ofwat's own practices in the past. We are working really hard to continue to deliver for customers and the regular environment and continue to comply with and exceed government regulations." Never heard these lot are giving such nonsense excuses. I'm just not buying any of it. I really am not, guys. They know they can get away with this. Like these fines, like I don't like. They are big fines. Don't get me wrong. They are big fines, but I don't. It doesn't scream to me that they're going to get on with it. I have a very hard time believing it, guys. Maybe some of you are disagreeing with me. Maybe some of you think this will actually make a difference, but I'm having a very hard time buying into this. That yeah, they're gonna get that. They're finally gonna get things sorted, guys. But as it's been said already, it's going to take years for some of our waterways to get cleaned up from this. But whether it will, time will tell. So what do you guys think? What do you guys make of these record total fines? Do you think they're going to make a difference? Do you think maybe it's just it's a slap on the wrist? Do you think it's going to change anything? Do you think maybe they will actually listen now? Let me know your thoughts and more in the comment section down below. If you found this video interesting, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share it across social media so others are notified of this video, and subscribe because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very soon.